Julius, long time no talk.
Yeah, right.
You're here now. You've made it. It's fight week. You're in the UFC now. Have you been able to soak any of this in, or are you still just thinking about the task at hand on Saturday?
Yeah, man, it's been really cool. I'm definitely not too proud to admit the fact that I'm seeing a lot of these guys, and I'm almost fanboying out a little bit. You know, like seeing some of these names that I've been watching since I was, in high school. And it's definitely a really cool experience. But at the end of the day, if I don't get the victory here, then that's the big goal here, and I need to get this started off on the right foot.
Who have you fanboyed out the most to so far?
That would be that's a good question. I went for a run last night, and I went down to the workout room to hop on the exercise bike to keep my sweat going for a little bit, and Henry Cejudo was in there, and I was like, oh man, and he was wrestling a little bit, so to see an Olympic gold medalist wrestling in person, that's worth the price of admission.
Did you say hi, or you just watched from a distance?
Oh, I just watched him. He was working out pretty hard, and we're all cutting weight right now, so I didn't want to bother him. But I'm definitely not too proud to ask these guys for pictures. I plan on asking some of these guys for pictures and autographs because maybe the shoe will be on the other foot one day.
And how are you feeling? Obviously, you got the fight. Everything's booked. You've had like a bit of a camp sort of leading into this. Just where's the confidence level at? Just knowing you have a really good opportunity here to take out a veteran.
Yeah, I'm super confident, to be honest with you, man. I think there's probably a decent amount of people thinking, I don't have enough experience, and I'm sure people are going back and watching my old fights. But the thing with a guy that's as early in the sport as I am is if you go back and watch my old fights, you're not going to get the whole story. I'm still rapidly improving. I've only been training for about 5.5 years, so each fight, each time I come out, I'm a new fighter, and I'm really confident that I'm going to show that here on Saturday.
I'm sure you're used to being sort of the favorite in a lot of your fights. In this case, you're the underdog. Have you looked at the odds going into this fight, or are you just, not even worrying about that?
Man, my buddies have been telling me, trust me, I couldn't, the odds have been being told to me by everybody. I heard as soon as they got announced, one of my buddies is like, oh, you opened at, I think plus 210 or something like that. And honestly, to be completely real with you, with the fact that, I've been a pro for less than 2 years and I've got 6 fights and I'm fighting the number 15 ranked guy in the world, and I think I'm like plus 170 or something. I thought they were going to have me at like plus 300 or 400 or something wide like that. But I guess in the light heavyweight division, it's probably pretty tough to put anybody any more than like minus 200.
Just last one for me. Alonzo's coming off a couple fights ago, really good win over Dustin Jacoby, but since then it's been a bit of a skid for him. How do you sort of prepare for which version we're going to get here? Or do you think there's a particular reason he hasn't been successful in his last couple fights?
Yeah, well, to be fair to Alonzo, he's been fighting two of the top 10 guys in the world for his last couple fights. There's an argument that Oldberg is probably real close to a title shot, and Mirzakhanov undefeated. He's probably another guy that's maybe 2-3 fights if he wins from a title shot. So he has been fighting some of the stiffest competition in the world. But for me, I think the only right approach for me is I've got to prepare for the absolute best version of Alonzo that we're going to get, and that's an explosive, powerful athlete with knockout power from the beginning of the bell all the way to the last of the 15 minutes. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Julius? So making your UFC debut and you're on the main card, like how does that make you feel,
Dude, it's pretty hype. I saw that and I was pretty surprised. I thought I'd be like a curtain jerker or something, but they've got me on the main card. Probably got to thank my opponent for being ranked that got me on the main card. Probably wasn't me that put us on there, but hey, I'm on the main card, baby. Let's go.
For anybody that has not watched you fight, how do you describe your chaotic style?
I would say that it's, especially for somebody in my weight division, it's real high-paced. I'm a little bit taller and leaner than a lot of light heavyweights, so I think I've got a little bit more gas in the tank than a lot of these guys. And I like to push the pace. I do like to mix it up. I like to mix the martial arts. I'm not a pure striker, not a pure grappler. I think I've got some pretty good grappling, and maybe I'll show some of that on Saturday.
Where did Juice Box come from?
So I played basketball in college at Drury University, and my coach was a guy named Steve Hesser, Hall of Fame coach, one of the greatest basketball minds that you'll ever meet. And he started calling me Juice whenever I was a freshman. And if you're wondering, yeah, it's because he said I looked like a young OJ. Back then, I couldn't grow no facial hair. I was 18 years old, baby-faced, and I had a little baby fro. And he said, man, you look like a young OJ. So he started calling me Juice. And then my teammates added on like juice box, juice barrel, juice bucket, juice gallon, and I picked juice box when I went into the fighting world because I felt like, it's one of those things. It's pretty brandable. I could see my face on like a little juice box, that the kids can have, or you could throw a little juice box on a T-shirt. Shoot, I've got T-shirts if if you guys want to order them.
So it's safe to say you're going to be a killer like Juice?
Man, I would like to say figuratively yes. Literally no. For my wife watching at home, you should be good. I don't plan on doing none of that crazy stuff. The glove won't fit.
And then last for me, so you say like you're relatively like new to MMA compared to a lot of these guys in the UFC. So like, did you expect to be here with 6 fights, or like, is it just kind of like right time, right place? Let's go.
Yeah. So if I'm being honest, I had a fight booked. I was supposed to fight next week in Kansas City. It was one of those fights that was really just keeping me active. It was getting harder and harder to find opponents on the regional scene. And kind of what I expected for 2025 was me to probably have 1 or 2 fights in the first half of the year. And then I thought just with, the level of experience I have, kind of where I'm at, I'd probably go on Contender Series in the fall. Hopefully everything goes well there and I make my UFC debut by the end of 2025. If you look at some of the stuff I have on my social media, as I've been saying, I set the goal to make it into the UFC in 2025. And I will say I definitely didn't expect it to be in February, didn't expect it to be this early, but when my manager Jason House messaged me on Wednesday afternoon this past week and he said, "Can you make 205 next weekend?" there was no way I was going to say no.
Good luck.
Appreciate you, man.
Julius over here. Just one. What's your message to anyone who would like to challenge you for your title of best basketball player in MMA?
Good luck, man. These I've seen these guys, move around. I've seen a couple videos of some MMA fighters trying to play basketball. I think the only competition that I would have on the entire roster, I don't know how good Cyril Gane actually is at basketball, but I saw a video of him dunking it and he looks pretty athletic. I don't know if he's got any actual skill though. But the rest of them, any of the guys that are like heavyweights are going to be too slow. They won't be able to guard me. And then any of the guys below that, I'm just going to score on because they're going to be too short. So I'm not going to lie. If we ran a ones tournament with the UFC guys, I don't even think I would have that much competition.
Besides yourself, what other 4 guys would you pick for a starting 5?
Ooh, here we go. I'm going to throw Gane in there because, dude, that dude's just an athlete, pretty big. I'm gonna throw Mays. Dontel Mays. He played basketball in college, I'm pretty sure, and he's a pretty big dude. I've met him once. I think he's like 6'6", 6'7". Let's see. Then I'll throw in, I got no idea if he knows what he's doing, but I'll throw in what's this guy's name? Teixeira, this big new tall guy, Taliesin Teixeira. Because, now at this point we got some size. I can play guard. I'm fine playing guard. We'll put Cyril at the 3. We'll run Dontel at the 4, Teixeira at the 5. And then the last thing we need is a point guard. And to be brutally honest, I got no clue if any of these guys can even dribble a basketball. So the point guard position is a little bit of a problem. But you know what? I'm gonna pull this one out of left field because I'm a guy that I think, and we're gonna go with. I'm just going to pull in Islam. He's going to be there to play defense and get rebounds. He's going to get rebounds. He's going to lock everybody up. I'll play point guard and any other professional sports league other than the NBA, of course, and probably the NFL and probably the MLB and probably a few others we could beat.
You think you think they won't call him for traveling?
Islam won't get to have the ball on offense. He's only going to get to play defense and get rebounds. If he gets a rebound, he's under strict instruction to pass it immediately because I've seen the Dagestani basketball, and we can't have none of that.
Let's go. Book it.
Yeah, right here, brother. I think Phil Rowe and Danny Barlow might probably take you up on the one-on-ones when they see that. I know Danny can hoop a bit.
I'll cook them both. Those guys are way too small. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. I'm even if I'm out of camp, I'm going to be about 230 pounds. They're not stopping me from getting to the basket. There's no way.
I love that. And what did you think of the All-Star game? Because I know it's been getting a lot of heat. People didn't like the format.
It's too much. They're doing too much gimmick stuff. They need to just really the two things I think could potentially be interesting is USA versus World, and just go back to East versus West. Stop all of the extra crap. And then honestly, I think what they should really do is probably have it not in the middle of the season. The NBA players already hardly try in the regular season, so if you think they're going to try in an exhibition game in the middle of the regular season, like, it's not happening.
That's fair enough. And are you aware that your Tapology, your foundation style, says ninja shit?
Yeah, I am. So the story behind that, whenever I first started fighting, I found out pretty quickly you can claim your Tapology and you can like edit it and everything. And I thought that was pretty cool, especially because I was like an amateur with like 2 or 3 fights. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to edit my Tapology. And growing up, I was always a Diaz brothers fan, Nick and Nate Diaz. And if you remember, there was an interview back in the day where it was Nate before he fought Connor, and they asked him what his plan was. And he's like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to hit and not get hit and go do some ninja shit, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's funny. So going into my 5th amateur fight, I wrote down on the paper, like, you know, the little paper they have you fill out with like your little stuff for the announcer. I actually put like I was a ninja shit style fighter. And if you go look that up on YouTube, it's Julius Walker versus Terry Copeland. The dude actually announces me as a ninja shit style fighter. And once that happened, I was like, I'm going to put that on my Tapology. And it's funny because like nobody said anything about it to me for the last, 3 years. But now like I've seen people on Twitter and stuff putting like, oh man, Julius Walker's bringing ninja shit into the cage. I'm like, shit, yeah, sure.
So could we hear it this weekend? Are you gonna?
Well, so I've heard, I don't know who's announcing. Is Bruce Buffer announcing, or is it what, Joe Martinez, or who is it?
I'm not sure.
Well, I know that if you remember with the Jim Miller thing, Bruce Buffer wouldn't say Jim effing Miller. So out of respect for the legend, I'm not going to ask him to say any bad words. But you guys know, the real ones know that I am a ninja shit style fighter. Appreciate you guys.